My name is Rene Descartes. Now, I would never dream of telling you how you should think, but I want to offer you an explanation of how I have tried to use my own reason. I put this forth merely as a history, or a tale, for you to consider. The thing about reason is that we all seem to think we have enough of it, and we're probably right about that. We have enough reason. We disagree because we are not using our reason in the same way. Now, I have been fortunate to have had the best education available. For a long time I expected to get knowledge from my education, but it didn't work out that way. After I completed the entire course of study, I found myself involved in so many doubts and errors, that I became convinced that, in all my attempts to gain knowledge, the only result was the discovery, at every turn, of my own ignorance. Now I won't say that education is useless. It just doesn't give us any knowledge. For example, I don't think oratory or poetry, as nice as they are, can be taught. And as for theology, I'm French, and I revered our Catholic theology. I aspired as much as anyone to reach heaven, but I realized that this way to heaven is open to stupid morons as much as to intelligent people, and intelligence doesn't help much in understanding truth revealed from heaven by God. I mean, come on, that's truth, but it's not knowledge. And don't even get me started about philosophy. It's just endless disagreement. You can't possibly pick up any knowledge there, or in any of the sciences that have philosophy as their foundation. Now, mathematics is different. That's a source of real knowledge, but so far no one has really found much usefulness in that knowledge. It's like a solid foundation with nothing built on it, and the writings of ancient ethicists are the exact opposite. Splendid palaces built on no rational foundation at all. In short, the old way of doing education, the old scholastic medieval way, just isn't working. Obviously I needed to try something else if I was ever going to know anything at all. So I resolved to study myself, and the great book of the world. I studied the world first. I traveled and listened and observed and, again, I found nothing but disagreement and confusion. So eventually resolved to make myself an object of study. I happened to be in Germany at the time, and it was winter, and I was blessed with some peace and quiet. So I spent a day all alone, just thinking, and I came up with a plan. Before I tell you my plan, I'd better explain something. We believe some things because we believe other things. One belief is based on another, like a brick in a wall. The whole system of things we believe is like a house. Well, a house needs a strong foundation. And the basic problem with what people believe these days is that beliefs are haphazardly based on other beliefs, with no solid foundation at all. Knowledge these days is like a house built on a foundation of sand, and built rather badly. So here's what my idea was: tear the whole thing down. Tear down the old system of belief and rebuild a new system in its place. And there's only one way to tear down the old system of belief, and that is doubt. Ruthless, systematic doubt. My idea was to doubt everything I could find the slightest reason to doubt. If I found out a belief was less than 100% certain, it would have to go. If a belief came from a source less than 100% reliable, doubt it. If I could even imagine the possibility that a belief was false, doubt it. And, after all that doubting, I would surely find something, some belief, that could not be doubted, and that would mean that it would be absolutely certain. And therefore such a belief would be fit to be at the foundation of the new structure of knowledge. So, my idea was to find such an undoubtable belief, and rebuild the house of knowledge on that solid foundation. Now this was a big plan, and I wasn't going to be able to put it into action soon. And all the ethical principles I had been brought up on were subject to doubt. I couldn't be sure they would turn out to be right, but I had to find some way of living until I could put my plan into action. So I came up with a provisional code of morals. First, I resolved to just go along with the opinions that enjoyed the most popularity and prestige in my society, even though I wasn't quite sure any of them were true. Second, I resolved to stick with my tentative opinions once I had adopted them. That way, even if I was going in the wrong direction sometimes, at least I might end up somewhere. Third, I resolved to change myself to fit the world, rather than try to do it the other way around. In other words, I adopted the ancient and medieval ethical principle of accepting what is, of changing my desires to fit the world rather than trying to amend the world according to my own desires. And, finally, I reviewed the different occupations people can have, and confirmed what I had always suspected. My chosen occupation in life, the pursuit of the truth, was the best of them all, and that was the end of my thoughts for that day. And after that I waited a long time for the right opportunity. I spent 9 years, just observing the world. Finally, one day when I happened to be in Amsterdam, and happened to be at leisure, I was able to put my plan into action.